All right. Hey guys. So I should be packing right now. I have a trip where I'm going to Atlanta first tomorrow, and then from there I will fly out to New York and I have a wedding in New York, New Jersey area. So my plan tonight is to go through all my gear, get everything set up, get it all ready. And I just really like to be in a good state and just I'll play some music and I make everything a vibe because I need that. So today I've just been like running some errands and running around, but I have been feeling some type of, I don't know if it's like I'm now starting to feel more into my clients, in the sense that I'm getting more aware of their like nervousness or their just anxiety coming up with their wedding. So I kind of want to dedicate this episode to, brides and grooms, couples. If you're one of my couples, if you decided to book another photographer and you are a couple that, had come across my work and stuff, this is even for you. I just kind of want to talk about the different dynamics of planning a wedding, especially an Indian or like South Asian wedding, which has so many components, and you're having to deal with a lot of people's attitudes and everyone just like really wanting to give their opinion and be in your face about stuff, and the drama that you can have with that. And I've just been feeling, and this has been kind of lately, like I want to say a couple of days ago I had a dream about one of my brides coming up, and I just saw her so stressed out and like so just not feeling good. And I need to reach out to her and just like message her and be like, are you good? Because I was kind of wanting to check on you. So and she's expressed some anxiety with like planning her wedding and having family get in the way, and everyone wants their opinions and they want it their way. So I kind of want to make this episode about that. I want to shed some light on, I understand the type of stuff that you're going through. I want to express my like sincere, sympathy, even because like it's tough. It's tough enough planning a wedding, right? But then you add in everyone's like 2 cents, and you're adding in everyone's just all their, the way they want to do it and stuff. And a lot of people want to like relive their wedding that they couldn't have through their kids. And then you have this dynamic of like the kid doesn't get what they want, but because the parent's paying for it, they're going to have to do it. So it's just like all these elements. But I want to give you guys some tips on how I feel like you can be more mindful going into your wedding. Even like a nice meditation for you guys too. I kind of want to do like a guided one. I kind of dabble in that myself to where like I do that for like my family members and some friends when they feel like they need it. I feel like I have a very calming, soothing voice, and I've been told that. So I think it's nice that people really resonate with that. And I want to help, you know, ease you guys into this process, go over my thoughts when it comes to dealing with other people, when it, dealing with your wedding, and then also some tips on how to navigate, handling family members, how to preserve the relationship you have with your fiance and soon to be husband or wife, and then how to really be mindful when it comes time to the wedding day, because I think that's where shit usually hits the fan. And people forget about, everyone involved, and they put all this pressure. And I've seen this time and time again with weddings where like, you spend months, even years planning this day. So you're like working it up to be this perfect day, and then things don't go right. And then you flip out, and then you lose that momentum of that good energy for that day. And then almost you can like associate bad memories with it. So today I want to talk about, the stress that comes with planning a wedding is normal, right? I want you to understand that. I want you to understand that this happens in every with every couple in every family. I don't think I've seen any wedding where it was just like, oh, it was just so effortless, other than like people who just say, screw everything, we're not telling anyone, we're going to go elope and we'll come back and have a little dinner with everyone. Then maybe that works. But the thing with having weddings, especially in South Asian culture, you have a lot of dynamics. So in our culture, there's this kind of understood rule that if you get invited to someone's wedding, then you kind of have to repay the favor or like do it back when you have your kid's wedding. And so there's like this social pressure. You have a social pressure that you have to do this event. It has to be big and grand, and you have to do that. That's just what you do. And our families have grown up in that way. Usually, like our parents, maybe they had smaller weddings, like my parents specifically. They had like a smaller type wedding. It was outside in a tent. And I love the story of, this, my parents' marriage, because they had such a simple event. My mom had little pigtails, and like my dad just looks so happy. He's like smiling so big in all of the photos, and my mom's head is just like down and wouldn't even look up because she was so shy. And basically, so this is just kind of a backstory, but I love how innocent and how sweet it was, because she was like, I think they got married in December, so it was a cold time in Pakistan. So like, they're in this tent, and apparently there was like this very famous fish guy that sold like the freshest, best flavored fish, and my mom was so excited to eat that fish. And like, people basically were like showing up at their wedding like stealing the fish. And so the whole wedding ends and she didn't get the fish, and she's still sad to this day that like she didn't get to try it. And like, I just thought that was the sweetest thing. She was just like, man, like, I don't know if that's sweet or if that's sad. It is kind of more sad, but like, she just wanted to have the food. Actually, this happens a lot in weddings where like the couple doesn't get to enjoy their cake or their food because they're so overwhelmed with everything. Back then, I think it was just kind of like it didn't happen because it's just, there were so many guests and they have to feed them first. And then maybe, no one gave a plate to my parents. So, it's just like how weddings used to be so simple and so heartfelt, and just like it was really about the union. It was really about like two families coming together, and you didn't need a flashy, helicopter ride with the groom jumping off of there. You didn't need swords cutting the cake. Not to say those are bad things, but like, a lot of it I do believe is kind of a little bit for show, because we're in an age where people want to outdo each other, especially with social media and seeing what so and so did at their wedding. Now I have to do something better and I want to do something different. And I love that it like inspires people to think differently, but I think it also creates a pressure that like we have to do so much for our wedding. And then that's where we kind of lose sight of what the meaning of the wedding really is. So, um, yeah, well, coming back to that, there's always that social pressure. There's always like, we have to do this because everyone, needs to see this big wedding. I have to invite everyone. And then now, since the parents get involved, you have two sides of parents. So, you have those dynamics of like, do the parents get along with the other set of parents or do they not? So you're balancing that. You're making sure everyone feels good with that. And a lot of times they don't. A lot of times we have issues, and it's like things come up and so said this, and that's usually where like drama can start. And it starts kind of feeling real icky and stuff, because you're like, oh, my in-laws want this but I want this. And I think you can start harboring a lot of negative feelings just with that alone. So we get to a point where like now, you're planning your wedding, you're talking to vendors. You may want to go with a certain vendor, but your parents are like, nope, you have a budget of this and you have to stay here and that's it. And so you may sacrifice that. You'll have to compromise. That's just part of, having a wedding, is like you have to learn to kind of bend when you can and be flexible on things that like don't really matter as much to you. Like, for instance, if you're not like, hell bent on having a certain caterer, maybe let your parents pick that. It's just kind of about like finding the flow of like letting them handle some aspects of like planning the wedding too, so they feel important, but also like sticking to your guns when you're like, hey, I really want to go with this team for my photo and video because I've just always admired them. I want to work with them. I feel like they'll do a really great job and I want that. So I think just finding that nice balance, giving them the respect, and then it has to be vice versa too. They need to respect you. They don't need to look at you like you're their child. And that happens a lot. I mean, I still deal with my mom yelling at me and being like, I can do that. I can yell at you for the rest of your life because I earned that when I became your mom. And she still looks at me like I'm 13 and I still get talked to like that, even though I'm 35. So that's just part of being a parent. I'm assuming I'm not a parent, but I'm just guessing that that's part of that, initiation when you become one. So I think everything works on a reciprocity type of basis. So if like you show love, you show respect, you show care, you'll get that back. As soon as you start showing some like, you know, just anger or bad type of like resentment and stuff, now you're dealing with that. Now you're dealing with them feeling that way and it turning into bigger issues. And then that just gets kind of piled up and piled up. And then when you get to the wedding, it's just like, all of this bad energy has just turned into this big ball of like not good stuff that you want to deal with. And then you're dealing with the pressure of the day itself. So I would just recommend in this case to choose your battles. Like, if it's not worth your energy or your time to like fight over things, and honestly, I don't think fighting really even helps. I think that it's important to communicate in ways that like we're talking openly, we're discussing, it's like a good back and forth. We can have a healthy discussion. It doesn't need to turn out in a screaming match where people are crying and people are slamming doors. Like, no, we don't need that. We need everyone to be on the same page and everyone to be just like ready for the days coming ahead, because I really believe that Indian, South Asian, Pakistani weddings are just really like a journey. So it's like you're getting prepped, you're getting ready, you're getting to that battleground type of thing. You got to be ready with everything. And I tell my clients this, I tell my couples, like when we're like, in action of like going through the wedding, like, yeah, we're almost there, we're almost at the finish line. And it is like that. It is, because it's so many days, it's getting ready, it's performing rituals, it's a lot of work, but then at the same time it's so much fun. So it's like you receive that reward after putting in the work and after kind of doing the hard part. So that's one thing I do want you to understand with your wedding is it will be a good time. You will have so much fun. You will enjoy the moments, but you will have to put in the work. You will have to do kind of the hard stuff you don't really want to do. Like, no one really wants to sit through like a 2-hour ceremony or, like back and forth rituals where you don't know what you're doing. But for, your ancestors' sake, your parents want to keep continuing this tradition. So you almost just kind of have to go through the motions, get it done. And if you don't want to do that, you can have the option of just saying, you know what? Screw everything. We're going to do what we want. We're eloping, and just you can go out and do that. Have the wedding of your dreams. That's what I'm manifesting for me. I don't want a big wedding. I don't want to invite people that I have to like sit and talk to. Like, to me, that just seems like I would need like 2 months to recover after that, because it's just so much, energy and people around. And just for me, it's a lot to have to like talk and deal with that. But I mean, you can always go the option of doing something non-traditional, doing a much smaller wedding. That kind of gets hard to negotiate with your parents, especially if you're like an only child, or, like you're the last in line and your parents really just have to do it. They will maybe force you to do it. So everything I think comes back to choosing your battles, making sure that like we're not making mountains out of molehills. We are just letting the day, letting it happen as it's supposed to and not fixating on the things we cannot control. So, why I feel like a lot of brides and grooms are having a lot of anxiety right now, specifically with dealing with their families and stuff. You can have different dynamics with like parents divorcing. You can have different dynamics with like family members not getting along, and you don't invite certain family members because they don't talk and there's restraining orders. I mean, a lot of family stuff is messy and that's not fun to navigate. But we need to have ways that we release that stress, that we take care of ourselves, and that we can almost like make like a protective shield around us, especially as a couple. Like, I think this is really crucial as a couple that you guys are on the same page and you're not fighting, because the minute that you two get against each other, then that's just causing like, why are we getting married if there's just so much resentment and hate and that kind of stuff that come up with this drama. So it's like, you don't need all of that. You need to be on the same page. We need to communicate. We need to work as a team. We need to come up with ideas that help fix the situation instead of hurt the situation or make it worse. So some things I would advise is like really setting aside time for you guys as a couple. Even if you're dealing with like your own family's drama and stuff, like I feel like it's really important to work on that healing and letting certain relationships that may drain you, or maybe they're toxic in some kind of way. We have to learn how to cut these cords energetically with these people so that it's not affecting us to the point where like it's affecting our relationships with other people. And that takes a long time. It takes work. I'm not saying you're going to be able to do this in an instant, but at least if you're on that same page of like, hey, talking to your significant other, like, hey, I really want to work on this. I know I have a lot going on with my family, but I need space. I need you to hold space for me. I need you to just hug me when I feel like overwhelmed. That's one thing that I feel like happens a lot, is when the families get involved and it becomes like a bigger thing. Sometimes all you really want is your significant other to just hug you and like be like, I got you. We're here. I'm here for it. And we're going to get through this. Like, just saying that can mean so much. So I really think, you know, feeling into that more and just really being mindful of each other, being so loving and understanding that this is like, it's gonna take time for you guys to heal and, be on the same page. And this should be a fun time for you where like you're planning your wedding. It's a good time, but I just see so many couples that get so overwhelmed. They don't end up having fun because it's just so stressful. So we need to relieve that stress. Some great ways to do that, I would say, is like simple things like, you could give each other massages or get couple massages. You could try doing Reiki, which is energy healing, which definitely helps, to unblock any things that are like unbalanced in your energetic system. Other than that, I mean, just even going out in nature together, taking time to hold space for each other, just letting each other know, like, I got you type of thing. Like, that verbal communication can mean so much. So I think it's really important to keep your connection strong, especially leading up to your wedding, because there's nothing worse than, and I've seen this so many times, where we get to the wedding and the couples are just so overwhelmed and stressed that they're fighting. And I talked about this in one of my other podcast episodes, where I had a couple pretty much like be at the point where the groom didn't want to come to the wedding, and he texted her that. And that was just a whole ball of negativity and something no one should experience. Like, I still feel really terrible that that happened to her, because she just wanted, a nice wedding. And I guess she didn't understand that, like, energetically, she was putting out a lot of negativity already. And then that just attracts more. And then it just really ended up in that. Really hard to see. So I feel like ever since then, it's been my mission to help people. That is really what inspired me. It's like those were the first words in my ebook on how to be a bride, was that what she had written me in an email, and I don't remember it specifically at this moment. Oh no, I'll never forget actually. She said, "My wedding was the worst day of my life and I never want to remember it." And I was just like heartbroken when I read that, because I'm like, dude, like no one wants you to feel that about your wedding. Like, I mean, looking through the pictures, they're not bad. They're not, you know, they're they're not terrible at all. They're actually really great pictures in my opinion. But because she's associating those negative feelings with it, it's just like, how can she not look at those and be reminded of that instantly because she wasn't feeling good? So yeah, when I wrote that book, I really wanted to help empower brides and couples going through this process and help get a better mindset with planning their weddings, and then even on the day of the weddings, how to handle the different stresses that come up, how to be prepared, because that just there was nowhere for brides to go to for this information. And I noticed I was doing a lot of consultations where I was coaching them, and I was like, you know what? I just need to make a book. And so I did, and it's on Amazon, and it's an ebook. So I may even make it like an audiobook. I kind of want to go back in and maybe even do like a revised version now that it's been 3 years, and now I could kind of add on to it. So that's kind of a thought. And my idea now with everything, I think because I'm so into wellness and I've seen how much that's impacted my life and the relationships and people, is just to have more people understanding of that, understanding of energy. And I feel like we could have such a better world if we're more aware of these things. So, um, I'm definitely kind of considering doing even an energy course for brides. Like that could be really fun. And including some meditation, some exercises they can do to kind of help relieve the stress. And if you just really feel so overwhelmed, I want, you to have like that place to voice everything, because sometimes it's hard to talk about it with your friends, with your family, and like people don't want to hear it. So maybe having some kind of support group would help, because other brides are going through the same stress. I'm just talking this out now because I'm hearing everything that I'm saying, and I'm like, that could sound really cool, like having a coaching group for brides. If that sounds like something you'd be into, let me know, and I'll make that happen, because I'm all full of different ideas and whatever can help the world better. So that's kind of the whole backstory with, stress when it comes to planning a wedding, and how to approach it when you want to just kind of don't fixate on the small stuff that doesn't matter. Always come back to you guys as a couple, try to work together as a team, and just really, be there for each other. And I think you can really get through it, and you can be there to support each other and do fun things, like have fun with it. Like maybe book each other a surprise massage, or maybe y'all go to like a wellness spa. I really love Chateau and Lawn has a wellness spa, which is like 30 minutes away from Atlanta. And I have a membership there because I love it. And it's just a great place to just get away and like disconnect from everyone, everything, and just really feel into the moments. That's my main thing in life now, is just like paying attention to the present day, what's going on with you. So what I want to recommend for you guys when you're feeling overwhelmed and stressed is to try to find a quiet and cozy place. This could be in your house, in your room, maybe dimming the lights and playing some soft, good music. I love to work with frequencies, but you could put lo-fis. I'm actually listening to lo-fis right now, and I'm really feeling in, the zone, because it's like this Afrobeat soul lo-fi, and it's nice. So even playing something like that to just create the right atmosphere. So you want to do that to help like relax your nerves, because sometimes when we're so worked up and we're like, oh my God, we're doing all of this and this person needs this, and I'm just so overwhelmed, you're in fight or flight mode, and that can just really mess up a lot of things in your body you can be all worked up for no reason. And then that can even start just like heart palpitations, or just you're not feeling well, you start feeling sick in your stomach, and you don't want that. So we need to calm down the nerves. We need to create the atmosphere to where you're just relaxed and you're kind of slowing down. The next thing you want to do is either sit on the ground with your back straight, or I prefer like laying down all the way, on my back, either on a yoga mat. I really also love to do this kind of stuff outside, and putting my feet in the earth, which is grounding. So sometimes I'll lay a blanket and I'll just lay down and put my feet in the earth. Either now that I'm in Florida, so I'll be doing that in the sand because I love doing that. And that just keeps you connected to the earth. But if you don't want to do that, you have an apartment or something, just create that in your space in your house. So you just basically either want to sit up nice and tall, and sit on the ground all the way and just not really have any tension. If that hurts your back, you can use different pillows or lay down or sit in a chair. Then you really want to focus on your breath, breathing deep, and then keeping your shoulders and arms relaxed. So sometimes when we breathe, we can kind of be up in this mode of like that, but no, we want to relax, let it go, shake it out, even you know, even like stretching out your neck and stuff, and just like letting your body relax type of thing. So you want to do that. And then at that point, you can either close your eyes. I prefer to do this because it helps me really focus. But if you do want to keep your eyes open, you just like kind of fixate on some spot or something in the wall and just kind of soften your gaze to where it just kind of like you zone in on that. So that's really good to do that. All your distractions will melt away. One thing with this is definitely put your phone in do not disturb. You don't need any phone calls. And then what I even do too is like lock the door and that kind of thing, because I don't want anyone disturbing me. I don't want, some kid, my nephew or something jumping in the room and like screaming and stuff, because that's going to take me out of it. So definitely just make sure you create that little world for you. And what's going to happen here is really interesting. So at first, you may get a lot of thoughts. It might be like, oh my God, I need to do this. Oh, yeah, this thing happened. Oh, okay, this. And you'll start to collect these thoughts. So what you want to do is just observe the thought, and without really judging it or like going too deep into it, is just like swipe it away and let it go. I consider that a good analogy because I'm like, okay, I can just let it go, let it go. And then eventually you get to a point where you're just like kind of floating, and that's where you're just kind of cruising, and that's where you can actually focus your attention on what you want to attract. So usually what I like to do is like envision the best version of myself. So maybe that's me looking like, for me right now, I'm really working with like my fitness and getting my diet regimen better and stuff. So I want my body to feel good. I'm seeing myself in the best way in that sense. If I want to see my significant other with me, I'm seeing like a very loving relationship. I'm seeing like the support I need. And I love him to be like a, masculine figure, but also in tune with his emotions. So I'm seeing all of that. And I'm just trying to imagine that. For you, it could look like imagining your wedding day. So what could be fun is to play with like the idea of what you want your wedding to be. So the idea of your wedding is like the best day. Like you're crazy about seeing him. You're dressing up. Your friends are all around you. Everyone's smiling. We're in good vibes. We're just enjoying it. We're vibing out. The photographer comes, we're chilling with them, we're taking these bridal shots, we're feeling ourselves. It just feels so good. And it's time for first look. You got those nervous jitters. You're about to see him. He's about to see you already. You're so excited. And then just even seeing that moment of like when you guys see each other, you see a tear in his eye, or he goes in to hug or kiss you, and like what that feels like. So you're just creating this positive visualization of what you want. And I think what happens with that is like now you're connecting to the universe, and you're basically just like telling the universe, hey, this is what I want. This is what I really want this day to be. And that can get you closer to it. But if we don't even imagine it and we imagine everything going wrong, then what happens when everything goes wrong? Like what happens when every issue comes up and we're dealing with this and this and this, it's going to take you out of the moment. It's going to ruin your day and you're not going to have a good experience with your wedding. I'm just telling you that because this is what happens. So while you're in this state, it's really important for you to just like, continue to focus on your breath. You can say affirmations. You can say, you can even do guided meditations where, someone will walk you through it and just kind of lead you into that, you know, that idea of seeing yourself. You're just imagining how everything feels and you're really just diving deep into that. And I think when you get to that point, then you just feel so good. And then you can either keep doing that with other things. Maybe you want to envision something good with your job or money or family. I do this a lot with seeing like positive relationships in my family. Everyone's getting along and they're letting me be me. And just like whatever you long for, you can just pretty much visualize it. And why not be able to be at that point where you can do that? So this is basically meditating. And a lot of people work up themselves and like, oh my God, I can't meditate. Oh my God, it's too much pressure. I can't do that. And I don't want to think. I don't want to sit still. But finding that stillness will bring you so much comfort. It will just level you out and you'll be just a more relaxed, chilled bride or groom, and you'll be able to take on anything that happens. So a couple of things that I always just like to remind people is like something is going to go wrong that day and that's okay. Something may pop up that you didn't expect and it may kind of throw your date off a little, but we're going to let it go. You might have feelings of anxiousness and that's okay. Like embrace that, enjoy it, because what happens is you're going to get married, you're going to go through the day, and then you will never have to go through that again unless you get divorced and get married again. Like, I mean, I'm divorced, so I understand that. Like, I felt all these things. I had these moments of like, oh my God, I have to like do this. And I was also moving out of state and leaving my family. So I had that dynamic with me. But like, you get this day, and then this is what I tell clients all the time is like, it doesn't come back, like you have to really be mindful of the day and how you're feeling and try to make it the best that you can. So like create these moments with your bridesmaids, with your family members, with your friends, like do things that you want to do. Like let your parents have this big grand event the way they want. Maybe that's what they want, and that's cool. We'll let them do that. But hey, maybe I want to have like these cool little hookah stations and stuff and make it like a lounge chill thing, or make it like where people are playing games, or just different things like that, different elements that bring it back to your personality. I really, really want couples to do more of this stuff because I think that personalizes it. It makes it more about them. And then you have a good time because you're doing something you want to do. Or if like maybe y'all want to go hang out, my wedding this weekend, I love, 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 love that their idea is they have their nikah on a whole separate day. It's on Saturday and they're doing that at the masjid. And then from there, they're just like, we want to go hang out with our friends. We all went to Princeton. We're just going to have a Princeton hangout. And that's what they're doing is literally hanging out at Princeton, getting crepes. Like to me, that sounds awesome. You just get this organic fun day with your friends. Like, yeah. When she told me, I was like, yeah, I'll definitely be there. I'm all for people just creating the wedding they want within, the not restrictions, but within the parameters of what you're given. And sure, it might cost a little bit extra. You may have to figure out some wiggle room when it comes to your budget, but come back to the experience. Come back to, do you want to enjoy your wedding or do you want to get it over with? I do not like when I hear that from couples. When I hear that, oh, I just can't wait to get it over with. I need it to be like the Monday after. I'm just like, man, that's like, I I don't want you to feel like that. I want you to look forward to it, but it's the stress, it's the pressure, it's everyone's eyes on you, and now you're dealing with everyone. Like, no, we don't. We need to eliminate all of that. If we have to go with it because the family wants it, we have to go with it, but we can let that go. We don't have to fixate on like, oh my God, I didn't get the wedding that I wanted because my parents got this. Or we don't have to fixate, oh my God, it's going to be 500 people. I don't want to even deal with it. You will not even remember any of that. That's why it's important for you to create a program and create the things that you do want to do during the times like we're taking pictures, like maybe instead of going to like a park for pictures, you want to go to In-N-Out and have a burger, or maybe you want to like, go to Starbucks, get a drink, or go to a cafe and get some coffee, get powered up for it, and like do things that just fill you up and light you up. One couple, I remember we went to like, she planned enough time, which was amazing, that we could like walk around the little downtown area. We went to a record shop. They like listened to records, and like, how fun is that? As if you're actually doing things that you like on your wedding. And why does that sound so foreign? Is because in history, I mean, look at our parents. You think my mom wanted to sit there with pigtails and not eat the famous fish? It's what they know. It's what they were brought up to do and live by. So they expect you to do the same thing. But we're in a new world now. We're in a world where we are doing more of what we want, and it's okay. But it's the way we go about it. It's the way of giving our parents respect, telling them, okay, we can do it your way, but how about I get this for me too? Let's come up with a compromise. Let's come up with something that works for everyone. Let's come up with a game plan. Let's tackle this, together, instead of being forceful and being angry and then having a wedding that the couple doesn't want. And then you're basically sitting with that for the rest of your life. And this is one of the most important days, right? Like, marriage itself is a union of two, souls coming together, and you're starting a life and a journey together in front of everyone. And you're basically declaring to everyone like, hey, we're going to be with each other, and we got each other, and we're sticking through thick and thin. And what a beautiful thing, right? Like a celebration of love. That's what this is. It's a celebration of love. But it doesn't end up that way sometimes. Like, as much as I would love to see it, I would love to feel this at every wedding. And a majority, I do feel that it is like that. Like, I feel the connection. I feel that the couple is happy, but the stress comes. But how do we handle stress? Do we need to fixate on everything? Do we need to cry when we don't get our way? When, something comes wrong on our outfit and we're having to like rearrange it and there's some wardrobe malfunction? Or do we make it work and we figure out what it is and we respond? Do we react or do we respond? So I want you to try to catch yourself in these moments when you are planning your wedding, when you are getting close to the wedding days. Catch yourself when it's like that moment of like some shit hits the fan and you get news about it. Okay, well, do I react? Do I respond? And maybe you do need to react. Maybe you need to scream. Maybe you need to hit a pillow. Maybe you need to do that. Get that out of your system. But then you respond. You're like, okay, what do I do next? Like, I had one bride come to me recently and I hate the situation she's in, because that's really tough, going into this, where like there's some issues that came up, and now, they're presented with this idea of, we have to figure out how to have a wedding without a venue. And she was so stressed, and I was just like, you know what, let's talk about it, let's figure it out. And it brought me back to thinking, because I'm a really good responder, I love to like figure out solutions. Like, we have this going on, okay, let's figure this out. And she told me what's going on. I was like, why not get creative with it and have fun and like figure out the best solution? Maybe it opens us up to have more time. Like, why don't we go to a really cool location to take pictures? Like, go to the museum, or like, it opens it up to like, if you're not having this big traditional wedding in a venue and it's not what you thought, why not look at it from a different point of view and be like, well, I can actually have the wedding that I want. I can have the people there. I can, we can go other places to take photos. We could just kind of have fun. We could do the hookah thing where like we bring the hookah stations and it's a chill vibe and people playing games and it's just like we're singing songs, it's karaoke. Why can't you have the wedding that you want when you're presented with it? And when I explained it to her, she like lit up and I love to see it because she was so stressed. And I was like, oh my God, I can help her through this, like with coaching and stuff. And after our conversation, she felt so much better. She was like, oh my God, thank you. Like, I was so worried. I didn't know what to do first. And I could tell from her text because it was like frazzled. And, I felt really bad that she has to go through this before her wedding. But I'm like, you know what? Think creatively, think of things you want to do and come back to you guys as a couple. Like, come back to that and everything else will figure itself out. You don't have to go the traditional route and do what everyone does. So, just some fun things, I wanted to talk about today. And now I will wrap up. I think today was kind of a long episode, but I felt like you guys needed it. I may even do like a guided meditation just for brides. Probably, I don't know when, because I'm traveling the next few days and then I'm shooting. Sometime I'll do a guided meditation and I hope that can help you guys as well. Maybe something you could put on your phone and listen to when you're, in those stressful situations, or if you just kind of want to take those moments for yourself to really be mindful. It's so important to pay attention to your body. And by taking those like slow, long breaths, you can focus on the feeling of the beat of your heart. You can like focus on what's going on in my body. Where am I feeling tension? Where do I need to release something? And then you're just more mindful. So my goal is to just make more mindful people in the world. But yeah, I'm going to wrap up because I do need to start packing. I have delayed it enough, but I felt like I needed to get this episode out today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know any thoughts, comments. I think this gets on YouTube too. So if you do listen to this and you like it, just, like it, leave a comment and subscribe. And then also I'm on social media. So you can check me out on Instagram, This Modern Love Photo. I am coming out with new content daily. I have some new courses coming out, energy related, because I'm super into that. Really excited for all the things coming up. So stay tuned for all of that goodness. I recorded my first full course on energetics and wellness. And that's just kind of a general course. So if you are like a bride or groom and you just kind of want to dive into this deeper, I would check that out. I'm going to make it super affordable so everyone can just utilize that information and know some like healthy tools to navigate this stressful world we're in. Aside from that, for wedding photographers, I'm coming up with a separate course too. So I'm just going to end with a deep breath and just so much gratitude for, if you are listening and if this did help you. I feel into like, you know what? I want to be this space that like you guys can come to and, listen and just start feeling more empowered when it comes to everything that you're doing. So enjoy the rest of your time. I'll see you on the next episode.